King Alcohol has many forms by which he catches man. He is a beast of many horns, and ever thus has been. For there's rum, and gin, and beer, and wine, and brandy of logwood hue, and hock, and port, and flip, combined to make a man look blue. He says be merry, for his good sherry, and Tom and Jerry, champagne and perry, and spirits of every hue. Oh, are not these a fiendish crew, as ever a mortal knew? Oh,
hey, we are in South Bend, Indiana.
It's the pigs on the road.
We're at the Crooked U. Finally.
Finally.
Been here for a while. Well, we've been here numerous times.
I've been here lots of times.
But we have the owner, Sean, with us today.
Good to be here.
And we've known Sean for a while. I've known Sean for a long time from Fiddlers, which we know and love well. And now he made the U. And when did the U actually open?
We actually opened the summer of 2015.
2015.
Yeah, so we're pretty young.
You are young. Who's doing your brewing for you?
Andy Walton. He actually could possibly be here by the end of the broadcast. But,
so he's taking a nap from brewing, right?
He started this morning. But no, he's doing a great job. His whole deal was trying to deal with what the common faults are with other brewers and trying to fix them. So we've been trying to extremely as consistent as possible. That's
okay,
really
right.
The biggest thing.
Well, we have Warren. We have Warren and Pat with us today. We got some of the pigs are missing, but the illustrious Warren's with us today.
Hey guys,
Mr. Warren. It's been a while.
I've been really working on my game since the last time I was on. I wasn't particularly my best performance.
Oh no, it was spectacular. Are you kidding?
So I'm really eager to do a better job on this podcast than the last time.
Do you realize the numbers we got off those shows?
Oh.
They were
actually some of our best. They were actually some of our best downloads.
I only had to cut out like a half of your rant on a
Oh yeah, Sean. By the way, what do you think about Pink Floyd?
Okay, not yet.
Don't even get me
Not yet.
started.
No, that's not
Don't
yet.
even get me started. I told you, I'm going to do better. It's going to be concise. We're going to stay on topic, and I'm not going to drag things out. So I'm here to add to the program, not subtract today. Boys.
Oh no, dude, you added spectacularness to that program.
But we got other friends with us today. My brother Ryan's here. Hello. Hello. And that's like Carl Pinkerton. Jerry, of course, is with us. Jerry and his son Wes are here. Wes is taking some photos for us and sharing mics.
Hey, what's up?
I think we're all Lions fans at the table, aren't we? Except for Pat.
I'll root for the Lions.
Right.
That's fine. Well, as long as they're not playing Colts, we're fine.
Yeah, so we're recording today instead of watching the playoffs.
Yeah.
Again.
No reason to watch. Why bother? There's nothing in it for us.
Well, let's talk about the U, because this is why we're here for today, to promote the U, because we love this place. The food is amazing, but what was your concept behind the U, and how did it begin and all that kind of good stuff?
Well, we were looking for some spot on the river. That was the biggest thing. And I think the other thing we were looking at was a trifecta, I like to say. Trifecta meaning we have the beer, we have the food, and we have the ambiance.
Mm-hmm.
So the view from the river, I think, was bar none.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our biggest thing. We were trying to get all three of those things involved, and I'm very happy where we're at right now.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the building, because anybody who's been in South Bend knows this building.
Right.
It's been around forever, and when you guys bought it, it was not the building it was in, the shape it was in today. How much work? Because I think you bought this place actually when?
We bought it in actually 2013, which was my
and it
first
was 2 years of dumping money into this place to get it. It was a VFW hall before that. How long had it been empty? Because since I've been here, it's been 8 years ish. It's I've only known it as a closed VFW. It's never been open or operable.
Well, it was perceived closed. They were still doing some operations out here, but
Jesus, are you serious?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, have you seen some of them around anywhere? VFWs or even like some Legions? Like when I was living in Florida, there was a Legion. It was actually an American Legion, and it was a shed. But no, they'll have these VFW things open for.
Yeah, unfortunately,
they're there. Just no one does anything.
And to be honest with you, there was a situation where there was a vehicle that struck the front of the building, and they could not afford to repair it. Oh. So they literally just went out. They
just walked away.
Yeah.
That wasn't you, Sean, right?
It was not me. I swear to God.
It was Ryan.
Honestly, we're happy to come in, and it actually worked. They were so friendly and helpful, and it actually worked out really good.
What was the biggest expense taking the building from where you found it to where we see it today?
The roof.
Really?
The roof was the biggest expense. The roof is actually more than the actual building itself. So to get it from not leaking inside the building, we had to put a new commercial roof on, and that was more than the building that we bought. Damn. Which is kind of weird, but we made it work.
Did you know you were going to have an obstacle when you started? Or was that a shit?
No, did not. Absolutely.
That was an
not.
shit.
No, I mean, it was that one thing's like we could Band-Aid it, a couple of spots, but
no.
Once we start opening up the Band-Aid, it's
time
like,
to amputate.
Yeah, it was a big deal. So, I mean, it was something we were able to collect within ourselves and understand that it's going to take a lot more than what we thought it was going to take.
Oh, it's got to suck, though.
Hey, did you cry?
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Ryan and I used to cry when we found out you were going to push back the opening a little bit. Like,
right.
I
know.
Like, dude, we're right down the street. It sucks. I get it.
Yeah, when we opened, we knew the view was going to be amazing, especially I'm glad we're doing this right now in the wintertime because that view in the winter on the river is amazing. You got that snow in the tree. Yeah.
Great view east, too, man. If this fireplace wasn't in the way, then you'd see a lot more. I mean, the view east from this room is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Were there any other locations you were looking at before you settled on this one, or was it the venue presented itself and you thought, hey, let's do this brewery thing here?
Yeah, we looked at a couple of locations. They were mostly riverfront.
Like wooden Indian?
No.
All right.
No, more closer to South Bend. And just the fact they were on the river was pretty awesome. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make it a riverfront property because, nobody takes advantage of that in South Bend. So once we found this spot and we figured there'd probably be a lot of work to do, we were like, let's just do it. And then if we don't make it, then somebody else.
Do you have a dock down there at all? So like in the summer,
Hey.
you can just tube down,
Yeah.
canoe down, and pull up and get some beer and
Year
go?
5. That's our year 5.
A big enough boat so we can have his riverboat casino operating
Oh,
on
man.
it, so you can head on out there and have
Warren's going to drive that for us.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to be our
Oh,
riverfront casino guy.
But there is the outdoor deck, and you can go out there, right? And
We will. Is this spring we'll have we'll be outside seating and everything, and it'll make it so much better.
And of course there's banquet rooms upstairs, and you guys have weddings and stuff, I believe, don't you?
Quite a few, and holiday parties too.
Yeah.
We did quite a few of this.
Actual weddings or receptions?
Actual receptions. You're
Okay.
absolutely right. That's actually a good point. We haven't.
No, I
seen
just want to
that.
know I want to know who that girl is. He was like, yeah, let's get married at the brewery.
Cool girl.
Yeah. We met
Real
over a
cool
growler,
girl.
man. It was magic.
All right, I want to meet her too.
I just want to know who these fucking companies are. They're still having holiday parties for their employees. Like, get some of those names, bro. I'd like to be a part of that.
There's 3 left.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's amazing. But you're talking about the smoker outside, and that's part of the ambiance and the food and the beer. I mean, what do you guys have smoking out there right now?
Yeah, brand new smoker. This past early December, we decided to update our smoker to something a little bit more practical, I guess. We used to have a cinder block, a concrete smoker.
Oh, okay.
And we decided that that wasn't the best long-term solution. So I actually, last holiday, I decided to buy a couple of old propane tanks, and we've actually morphed that into like something really awesome. And it's right outside the door there.
It is
so
awesome.
We're ready to smoke meat 24/7. We've got, I can't even tell you what our capacity is right now. I dare you to keep us up with what we can do. So we're ready to rock. And the meat, honestly, I've had the meat the last couple of weeks since we've actually had it up and running, and it's the best barbecue I've had
Really?
anywhere.
And the roof on his new smoker matches the roof
Oh, yeah.
on the bar.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
kind
Does
of
it really?
Yeah.
We made sure the
So it
roof
doesn't look out of
matched.
place.
Aesthetically
the guy who actually
Costs the
did our,
same.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The guy who did our smoker was like, "All right, so we're gonna have to put a roof on that. What color do you want?" I'm like, "All right, I know just the guy to talk to because here's the guy who did our roof." And no, we matched the color and everything.
Is there a U on there? Or?
Next step.
All
Oh,
right.
that's what a great idea.
Where did that come from? Where did that concept come from?
The U actually came from I'm a Scottish guy myself, and I play bagpipes and
Very
the
well.
name,
Holy shit.
Yeah, the name of the place.
He's going to play some right now. Guys, bring him in.
No, my whole life has been in Scotland, and I travel there quite a bit, and I really wanted to have something that kind of toyed with the fact that Scottish people love beer, obviously whiskey too, but but beer too, and when we opened that place, me and the music that I had with Scotland, I wanted to kind of carry everything together.
Right.
Yeah. So when we opened the place, it was like, all right, let's call it. Well, actually, we didn't really have anybody that complained against it. So I guess I was the one that didn't get ruled out. And as I say, didn't get ruled out. I mean, there's two of us, so it means it doesn't.
Nobody came up with anything better. So
right.
It
doesn't really speak much, but I won. That's cool.
Ryan's last-minute submission of Sweet Titties Brewery didn't gather any steam in the final motion stages of the meeting.
What a great name!
Hey, the self-control it takes. I mean, obviously you want to make an image and have a business make money, but I don't think I could have that self-control to be like, I'm going to name this something serious. I'd be like the president of Sweet Titties Brewery.
Just imagine the artwork, Warren.
No.
The T-shirts alone. You know what? We just sell T-shirts. The beer would just be a mechanism for selling dirty T-shirts.
Horrible beer, but great T-shirts.
the hats.
Why am I
the
doing
hats.
Yeah,
Just the big booby titty hats.
Why am I doing this podcasting thing? I'm wasting good fortune.
Warren's got his idea now. Sweet Titties Brewery.
The next one will be.
Cowboy would love that. That's Cowboy's. That's one of Cowboy's favorite phrases.
Yep.
You guys will come over and do a show and realize that it's just me in my garage, drunk, stirring a 5-gallon pot of beer that I've collected after parties. Come on in, Sweet Titties. It'll get you better. I love it.
Just doing a little distilling of my beer to make it a little better, yeah? Exactly.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the beer here. Where did Andy's the brewer? Is that do you guys know each other for a while? Or?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We started more home brewing by I think 2007. I think was when we first kind of both started, and we talked about beers that we wanted to make sure that there were not any gray areas about. And I think that's really important because you start dealing with beers that a lot of people try to make it their own and that kind of thing. But, when it comes down to it, there's only certain things that the brewing industry will judge you on. And so why would you make something that they would judge you outside of where you're actually at? And we felt that was really important because if we were going to put our beers out there in the market, would we want to actually do that to make our name felt, or we want to do it to actually win an award? And I think winning an award is pretty cool.
And speaking of an award, you guys have actually won
we did.
a pretty fucking huge one.
Yeah, we won the World Beer Cup for our Scotch Ale, our first year.
Good job.
Very first year we actually were open. And that was weird. It was weird sitting on my couch and actually getting a text from our Brewers Guild saying, you guys won an award. And I was, what the fuck? What the?
Who are you?
Yeah.
Did we put it? What?
Gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I knew we submitted, but it's like, why are you telling us this? And I Googled, I mean, I had to actually look for it, and I found out that we actually won it's the third place, which is awesome.
Yeah,
But you're up against
in the globe.
You're up against everybody
Third
in the
place.
world. Like,
Yeah.
And the funny thing too is that I actually got a call from some guy from Glasgow, Scotland.
because the beer's the Glasgow Butcher Scotch Ale.
The winner was our Scotch Ale, and he wanted to actually carry it in his pub.
Nice.
And he's like, "What can I do to carry your beer in our pub?" And I was like,
Come over here and get it.
"Exactly. It's like,
you don't
we're
have
not
to
going
check
to
a bag."
ship it to you."
Yeah.
I'll need
So-
2 seats. One for
Right.
me, one for the kids.
Right.
And it's funny
not
about
gonna happen.
the thing that I didn't know about those awards, and in the community they're a pretty big deal. But that's your award for that beer for the rest of your life forever, right?
True. Yeah.
It's not like you hand off the crown.
No, you
the
got to
next
give it
year.
back the next year.
Yeah, so it'll always be.
They do that at the Olympics too.
It's not gonna redo all these menus and scratch it off. But that's fantastic, especially your first year or two out the gate, because you were against the biggest names in brewing.
True. Yeah.
Was that specifically for that classification, just for Scotch ales, though, or was it just...
Can't hardly hear you.
Can't hear me?
There you go.
Talk
Speaking
into
of the
mic.
microphone, gorgeous.
It's quiet, Ryan.
Quiet Ryan, is it a band?
I think so.
No, go ahead. Hey, ask again. We didn't
No,
get it
I was
on
wondering
there.
if that was just that award was just for that classification for Scotch ales, or if it was overall.
Yeah, no, it was more for the classification of Scotch ales, and we kind of quoted back and forth on what we would actually label the beer, because when we start dealing with judging of a beer, we deal with parameters, and parameters are really important. And there's not a lot of leeway left and right, and we were kind of on the fence on whether it was a Scotch ale or a Scottish ale.
Oh, yeah.
Which are completely different.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when you're what's the beer classification
JBF.
stuff? Yeah, the JBF. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's all kinds of little
Right.
classifications through
So
there.
I mean that was our hesitance, and I spent a lot of time in Scotland on purpose, and drank a lot of beer in Scotland on
Research.
Research.
I
yeah.
hope you got to write that off.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
is
not
a business
before
expense.
The previous spot opened, but no, it was a lot of fun, and
The only bummer of the whole thing, if I remember the story right, is that you guys were so busy and swamped with on-site stuff and promoting the brewery and getting things up and running that you couldn't go. So there wasn't this big whole like, let's go out and party and tear up Philly tonight because we won the World Beer Cup.
Right.
So you just
You
sent
guys
the
were just in
bottles?
town working.
I was literally on my couch, and I got the text from our Brewers Guild down in Indy saying
still
that
pretty good, though.
These were the breweries that won from Indiana, and we ended up being on that list. That was an awesome feeling.
Yeah, first year.
Another way to start out. Yeah, it's a good way to start out.
Yeah, it started out, man. That was our first year, I think, being open. So that was a great.
He's not going to talk about the second year when he lost to Sweet Titties Brewery.
Yeah, right. Haven't won since, but
Strong out of the gate.
But you know what? I tell a lot of people what you said, Warren, is that I mean, honestly, I feel like we're that Academy Award winner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
nobody's gonna take that away from us.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
we,
like-
we still won that. We still won that award. So if
Reggie and OJ notwithstanding, it's like a Heisman. Like,
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
You're going to be a Heisman winner forever.
exactly,
Unless you kill somebody or
so
whatever.
we're happy.
But you got to chase that now. You guys going after some more? I mean, you have to be, right?
We are. Yeah, we actually did not send anything. Well, World Beer Cup is every 2 years, so we haven't actually been able to enter since this year.
Right.
So we sent stuff out this year. We'll see how it goes this spring, and yeah. sounds like
Do you
fun.
guys have? I know you're between you guys, you and Andy. Do you have certain styles you like more than the other, or even brewing? Do you like brewing different styles more than another one?
That's a good question. We prefer more. Obviously, we're ales guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to experiment a little bit with some lagering, which
That's what I
gives
was
us a
gonna
little
ask
bit
you
more.
next, was
Yeah,
if
it gives
you
us a
guys
little
would
bit more
get that.
experience. But we can get the same amount from brewing as an ale with like a Kolsch or a cream ale like we do.
You haven't done any Kolsch's either, have you? Even
We have not. We're
Okay.
actually going to do one
Okay.
pretty quick, but
Are there any styles that you guys like have butt heads about and thought, well, I want to do this, and then you're like, nah, maybe we shouldn't do this?
honestly, none. It's more been something where we're kind of pushing it off. You know what I mean?
all right.
We're,
I know
we're-
you just did a malt liquor, so I mean, I guess it's probably wide open after that.
right. It's our second malt liquor. I think we've done since we've opened. It's a little heavy. Yeah, it'll get you.
14%.
We have to try that later on in the show.
Later on, not now.
No, not the start. But we will. I will.
What are you talking
But if he wants to, then it's
no, I'd start off with that.
No.
We were already pre-gaming
I
an 11%.
I started there.
No.
Like, what's the problem?
That's how people get fired up and start talking about how they hate Pink Floyd, how they lost their virginity. Like, let's fucking not right now.
You didn't lose your virginity to Pink Floyd, did you?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was wondering why there was such hate.
It was I don't know. It was one of those you're in the pocket for a minute and then you realize, wait a minute, I think I've had too much to drink.
Oops. Oh, it was a good 3-4 hour bender day. That we got like 3.5 shows out of that.
Yeah.
I always tell my wife before I do one of these, I'm going to act right this time. It's going to be a goddamn great performance.
It is going to be spectacular.
I wake up the next morning thinking, no, I've done it again.
Holy crap, did I actually record that?
Yeah.
Then you got to wait a month to hear what you did.
Yeah.
I do remember that show, like the third one in, we broke about halfway through, and Jeremy was with us at that time, and we said, all right, let's take a break, get some more beer, and do that one. And Jeremy was like, more beer? He put his head down. I think he was out. He went to the couch. He was done.
He did. He took a nap.
Yeah. That was fun. Good day.
And then Warren disappeared.
Oh, yeah. I disappeared into an Uber.
It was pretty damn funny.
Well, let's talk about some more of the beer that you have on right now. I think we should take a break and get a few of these, and we want to talk about the beer and the food next. So let's
as great as the beer is here, the beer is fantastic. The food is incredible. The menu's ridiculous, and
It's awesome.
we'll take a break and talk about all that. What's rolling off that smoker, because the menu here is just
amazing,
magnificent.
Yes,
like
sweet. Be right back.
What's the best way to make it through a long work week? Take a midweek break and join the fun every Wednesday night at Alley's Ale House in Fishers for Nico's Open Stage. Want to share your talent in front of a live audience? Whether it's breaking in some new material or jamming out to some favorites, Nico's Open Stage is the place to go for it. There's never a cover charge, and walk-ins are always welcome. Each week brings a featured artist and drink specials from Jack Daniels. Check out Nico's Open Stage on Facebook for more details. And come join the fun every Wednesday night at Alley's Ale House, home of the boys of Blind Pig Confessions.
We're back.
we were back in South Bend, Indiana, the Crooked U.
It got a little weird there in the break.
It was 10 minutes of all of us saying, shut up, don't say anything. You're going to say something funny. We got to catch it. Don't say anything.
No doubt.
Oh, shit, we're
The
alive.
story sounds awesome. Be quiet. Don't say anything. So we've got a lot of build-up for this segment. I'm excited. There are like 9 things I need to hear the end of it real quick.
All right, where are we at, Brennan?
We have the chef with us now.
The chef.
The chef.
The
Surprise,
chef.
surprise,
The
surprise.
chef.
And we before you got here, we were all raving about the food here because the food is amazing, and he said that's a trifecta about the food, the beer, and the ambiance, and the food really is amazing. So, kudos to you.
Thank you.
What is your name, sir?
Alain.
Alain?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks. I blame my parents.
An
Hey,
awesome
how you
name.
spell that?
Sweet.
Alain.
Okay.
We're glad to have you on the show, and let's talk about what you're doing because you were out doing some amazing stuff.
Food-wise?
Yeah. Where'd you learn your?
He's a really fun guy to follow on Instagram and like Facebook
Really?
and things. Yeah, because the things that'll pop up on your news feed, I'm like, oh wow, Alain's in New Orleans, and he's at some secret like chefs only shits. The rest of us can't even know about. I know you guys have this weird like underground like cool like knuckle bunt like fraternity where you ate some stuff and saw some things and drank some things in New Orleans that none of us could find out or try.
Probably. I mean, New Orleans is divided between pure tourism and pure locals, right? I mean, it's kind of similar to South Bend, where you've got these new group of kids who come in every year to go to Notre Dame, and they have their little spots, and then the locals have their spots. And those kids 4 years here may never find those spots because they're not,
Yeah.
But it was my 13th time back, so that kind of gets you into other streets you wouldn't normally go, right? And then you meet people, and they're like, "Oh, how many times have you been? Oh, you should. You know what?
I'm going to tell you about the secret
music,
spot.
You should go over here, like instead of like sitting your ass in Preservation Hall every single time around these tourists. Like it's great music, but like you want to hear some real good music, like go to the kind of seedy side of town and like walk into a bar, and you're going to hear some of the best music that there is. It's the same with food. There's one restaurant we went to that is not marked whatsoever.
That's awesome. It's like a speakeasy.
Yeah,
That's how it should be.
It's upstairs above, kind of a speakeasy. They have music, 3 different bands, 7 days a week. It's called the Spotted Cat. Great venue. And up above there is a tiny little Italian restaurant that is not marked at all. You open this kind of creaky door to this staircase, still don't know where you're going. Could be an apartment, who knows what it is.
Right.
Get in there, and it's this great little restaurant.
Now, when you obviously you've been 13 times on you travel a lot. I'm a big fan of yours on social media, so I know a lot about where you've been, Alain.
Sure, totally.
But I mean, are you're
A little too much
Stocky,
Huener.
little stocky
But
there.
as a chef, are you going away to just relax and unwind, or are you going to find some inspiration for some new stuff? Because this is a hard gig, what you do, to try to constantly keep things new and fresh and exciting. And a place like New Orleans is built for, I think, a guy with your interests and passions, right?
Agreed. Yeah. So it's a little bit of both. Without a doubt, the number one expense on any one of my trips is going out to eat. Not only because I enjoy it, because I'm also looking for something new. I'd never thought of that, right? I had that moment. There's this great Israeli restaurant in Midtown in New Orleans. Just took down a James Beard. Just took down a James Beard last year. And he's doing pickled red onions, which we do here, and I think that's great. But he's pickling them with sumac, and it's just something that I'd never thought of, and it's a really great idea, and it adds this depth of flavor. Also goes along with Israeli cuisine, and it's just it's kind of one of those why didn't I think of this? This is a really good idea.
That's awesome.
And you have those little moments. It's never I'm going to steal this whole dish. It's more like a component or a way they did something in a way that I wouldn't have thought of. So half of it's research, half of it's fun.
So my trip across the street to the Popeyes from my hotel is not going to impress you. I told my wife, I'm we're in New Orleans, got to do a Popeyes while I'm here.
Yeah, you say there was what's the guy? It was a Chef Best, I believe his name is, from New Orleans, and he said one of the best places to get anything outside of New Orleans to get red beans and rice is Popeyes. And he's a New Orleans native. He said that's his favorite outside New Orleans is Popeyes.
Good recipe's a good recipe.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the menu here.
Right.
One of the things, and I'm no longer a vegan, but I was when the U opened, that I appreciated the most about this place was that you have an amazing menu, but then you have a vegan version of the entire menu.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're a meat eater. You enjoy the all the fruits.
I do.
Why?
Why did you do this to Sean? Tell us.
So there are a couple of reasons. I think one starts with an ethical decision.
Okay.
And I think that as a chef, you deal with a lot of people who are picky eaters, but not for very good reasons. It's almost kind of childlike. It's green. I'm not going to like it. And you're what are you talking about? Have you even tried? No, it's not the right color. Come on. That's the explanation my 5-year-old gave to me when he was 5, right?
Right.
When now he loves asparagus because he actually tried it, right? But one thing that I think from an ethical perspective is if someone makes a decision to decide to not harm another animal, and we're all aware, even though we're probably all meat eaters here, that animals feel pain, and it's pretty intense. And if we're going to continue to eat meat, then we should do it as ethically as possible. But the people who make the decision to not participate in that harm, I don't think they should be not rewarded. And that's so often what happens. It's oh, you're a vegan, but you can have this or this.
And, it's funny. It was 3.5 years I spent not eating meat or dairy, and you learn things about, how to eat when you're out. And South Bend doesn't have a place where you could pick up a menu and say, anything I want. I mean, there are some places that have a lot that you could eat or offer. Do you guys find that that's been a little bit rewarding? Because also vegans talk like a bunch of little girly gangsters. If the word is out that there's a place, you should try it.
Right.
The word spread
Makes
about
it
the
really
U pretty
tough.
fast.
I mean, first reason is ethical. Second reason is, to be honest, financial, and not I'm trying to juice all the money out of this
Right.
area, but I mean, we're living in a town we got 100,000 here, 300,000 in the Michiana area.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of vegans in there, and a lot of them have no place to go, and a lot of them just stay home because they don't trust that somebody's going to actually prepare it correctly, or you have the nightmare issue where your dish actually gets served with eggs or something because no one's taking your ethical stance seriously. And I feel I knew plenty of vegans who didn't have a place to go and wanted one. Especially for new American cuisine. I mean, sure, you can go to Elia's, which I love, or you can go to Cambodian Thai, which I love. But if you want American food and you're a vegan, you're
What are
kind
your
of
options?
screwed in this
Yeah.
area, and it's unfortunate.
True or false? I'm the fattest vegan you've ever met.
False.
False? Wow.
100%.
All right. Now I don't feel so bad. And as far as, you bring up the American cuisine, the inspiration for the menu is, how do you think up all of this? Because it's laid out incredibly, but each it's like reading a J. Peterman catalog because every entry on this menu, it's got a little story, and you're like, shit, that sounds pretty good, man. Like, even if you're not,
that's a point.
yeah. But I mean, it's like, oh, all right, and it's how.
The main inspiration for this entire project was beer.
My man.
Right. And I mean, I'm sitting like around a bunch of beer lovers, and I appreciate that you love beer, but I also, most of you probably know that beer was the foundation for civilization. It's the reason we stopped being migratory. It's the reason we settled down. It's the reason agriculture exists. It's the reason modern medicine, written language. I mean, it's a really, really big deal. And it's something that I think we take for granted. And because beer happened globally in a few thousand years, like between 9 and 5,000 BCE, it had an impact on every single culture around the world. It wasn't just a unique thing to England or Africa or specific countries. It was worldwide. And whether that was a mead or a simple beer or rice wines, it all had just a dramatic effect on our species thousands of years ago, which also had a dramatic effect on who we are today. The fact that our species survived, right? We were drinking water and dying in the streets because we didn't know we had to like get bacteria out of it. But all of a sudden beer works and we don't die. This is great. We're drunk going into wars, like we're conquering other armies, right? So for that reason, I made a real kind of global menu because there's no like theme as in this is Italian or this is whatever. The theme is beer, and it affected every culture on Earth. So I like to keep my menu incredibly global, not just for American cuisines, but there's many Asian influences, African influences all over the menu.
Because you guys are also a craft brewery, I feel like the standard of food is a lot higher for places that brew their own beer.
Yeah,
because and when you look at your menu and you're talking about a new dish or introducing something new or where you source your ingredients or out to the smoker out back, is any of that thinking, well, we could do this, but we should probably up our game and do something a little bit more extravagant because people are coming here expecting amazing beer, but if you're in a craft brewery, you also expect, any place you go has to have amazing food.
Yeah, and I think for me, there's the other, and not necessarily disappointing thing, because I still love all this food that I'm about to name, but I can go to most breweries anywhere in the country, and I can tell you everything that's going to be on the menu. I can tell you there's going to be pizza, there's going to be mac and cheese, there's going to be grilled cheese.
Fuck, he's been to 3 Floyds. Dude,
well,
that's awesome.
I've been everywhere, right? Right? Like, and 3 Floyds brews world-class beers. Yeah. So does Russian River, and their menu's kind of similar. There are other breweries who are kind of take the same. 18th Street's a new gig where they're doing like fine dining essentially. You've got Stone in California that's putting out beautiful like fine dining, not fine dining. Fine dining in the sense like we're fine dining, like you're not aprons and like, oh, here's your wine, sir, right? Like none of that shit. But like, I feel like, especially when it comes to brewing beer, it's a serious science. And our brewer Andy is fucking. Sorry.
No, you.
No, it's clean. Go for it.
I've sworn like 25
You are well.
times.
You are
right now.
We are not a clean show.
He's working night and day. He's studying up on chemistry to make beers. And if I'm just going to give you fried mozzarella sticks, then what the fuck am I doing with my, like, I need to match. He's got a sign in there that says brew like a champion today. That's kind of a statement that just goes around this town all the time. But if you really think about it, like that's kind of a charge to arms. Like that's like a statement like you have to brew like a champion. And
is there a hang in there kitty poster in there too?
Maybe.
The frog strangling the stork. Never, ever give up.
And the thing with Andy is he did. There's no taking away that third place in the world beer.
Oh God,
cup,
no!
Right?
Yeah,
it's forever. And if he's going to put that amount of dedication into something, then the food should too. Awesome. And that's the general philosophy there. Like it's got to be the best it can be.
Do you guys talk at all about when you're developing new beers about food you're coming out with? Do you guys try and pair that stuff together at all, or do you wait?
It's a good question. There are breweries who do that specifically. I think that tends to stifle people into a specific direction. I think that there are, depending on the dish you pick, there are better beers to go with that dish, but I also kind of want you to play with your palate.
Right.
Like,
it's going to taste different to everybody.
So I don't give recommendations on the menu. If someone were to be like, hey, what should I eat with the ramen? Or what should I drink with the ramen, excuse me? I will for sure give you my recommendation. Right.
Well, even for yourself, if you had a beer and go, ooh, you know what?
Try the growler. It's
make
fantastic.
Well, I think were you going more along the lines of like if Andy's thinking up a new beer, are you thinking of a new dish that will work with that beer? Because I know some of your dishes have the beers in it, like the rest nibs, and and so does he make the beer first, and you think of a food later that you might be able to use that beer in, or
just drink a beer and go, man, you know what? I just had a new one from that they thought up, and now I want to try it. I mean, I think it's inspired you to make something?
More like that. Mm-hmm. I know that Andy and Eric, who's the assistant brewer here, and I would all like to be to the point where we're able to do things like that all the time. Like, I'm going to put this dish on. Will you brew this beer for it? We're not there yet. I mean, we're still a small growing business, right? But we do want to get there. One thing I can say is we're doing a chef's dinner on the 23rd. 8 different chefs from around town, 8 different courses, and 8 different beers that we've never released before.
Oh, wow.
And this is the first time we've all gotten together, Sean, Andy, Eric, and I, and kind of tweaked beers to go specifically with the dishes. So this will be the first time I've been on the project. I've been here at the Crooked U for over 3 years, and this is the first time we're kind of doing that kind of thing. And that's super exciting. And it's definitely a direction we want to continue to go.
Awesome. I like it.
Hey, I was just going to say one thing. So my daughter's got food allergies that basically puts her in the vegan camp. Mm-hmm. And having a restaurant that caters to us meat eaters as well as vegans is a prized possession. She lives in Detroit. And so there's like the short list of restaurants where you can get both. And I think the idea that you understand that, and it's going to bring in more people, because it's typically there might be a couple vegans and then 4 or 5 other people, but they all hang out.
Right.
That's awesome.
I mean, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's one of the goals. I mean, if what does beer do other than bring us all together? Like, really?
Dilly.
You know what I mean?
Sorry. Whoops.
Oh, you're fired. Get the hell out. Who just said that? Get the hell out. You just copyrighted us. Now we got to close this whole show down.
And oops. I can't tell you how many. I can't tell you how many tickets come in, to the kitchen, and there's 2 vegan items and 5 meat items, or 4 vegan and 1 meat. It's a place where everyone can go, and that's the point.
Do you have the whole separate section for the vegan side?
It's 2
where the pans are not,
menus.
they're not using the same pan.
Absolutely. We have separate flat tops, pans, fryers, everything.
Right.
Well, that's the most important part.
Well, yeah. Because a lot of times they'll say vegan and it's still cooked in the same pan that my steak just came out of.
The incredible thing is it's not just some, and not to keep harping on the vegan menu, but it's very well done, but also it's made.
It's not an afterthought we're going to throw something out there for the vegans.
I've made my own seitan before, and it was okay. It kind of sucked, but yours, the stuff you guys do here is fantastic. It's gourmet grade, if not better. So it's nice to see. Not only do you offer that for those people, but it's fucking incredible.
What?
That's fancy Satan. That's fancy for Satan.
What does that even?
Don't you worry about that. That's a vegan club word.
I'm not vegan. I'm a meat eater, but I've gotten stuff from the vegan menu here because it was good.
Yeah.
So it's not an afterthought of it's a vegan. I mean,
it's like, can I have this vegan menu, but can you throw some meat on it?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten stuff just here just because I didn't it was delicious and didn't feel like eating a steak, and I got some out the vegan menu and it was awesome. So I mean, everything here is good. I think he says it all the time. That's what it's all about, and it is. The food's amazing, and I think most people who really love craft beer are getting it because they want a little bit better quality beer, and they come here and they get better quality beer and better quality food. So it is, and it's the trifecta, as he says, and that's true.
Nice.
It works.
I love you, man. Nice work. It was really good.
Let's take a break and get some
take a
more
break.
brews.
Or we need more beer?
Yeah.
We still need more beer?
Yeah.
Food.
I think we need to talk about some of that small batch.
Uh-oh. Small batch. Were there small batch? What kind of small batch you got, Sean?
Right now it's
good.
Our malt liquor.
Oh, sweet.
Which is 12.9%, I believe.
Oh, come on. That's nothing.
Oh, no, it'll do you up.
All right, we'll be right back.
This is Robert Ralph Feddersen, and you're listening to Blind Pig Confessions.
The bear eats the dude.
All right, we're back. Apparently, we left all the funny stuff at the break. Sorry you didn't get to hear it.
I don't know why you just don't leave the mics on.
I should.
And just
because you bitch about the editing.
Yeah, because it's an editing nightmare.
Yes, exactly.
You know what? Screw it.
You can bitch about the editing
because we lose so much.
I'd give you better content, but that'd be more work for me. Forget about it.
It basically involved vegans sitting in the front of the bus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Jerry, you were all kind of messed up. Apparently, you thought I was talking about a separate section in the restaurant.
I did. I was laughing so hard.
Talk closer to the mic.
Sorry about that. I was laughing so hard while everyone's talking about, oh yeah, we do vegans separately. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, where do you make them sit? That's just awful. And you're so proud of it.
They're outside.
Outside of the room.
Right.
Yeah, it helps being clueless.
All right, what do we got here?
We got the small batch.
Small batch?
Yeah,
Sean,
hey.
where did the small batch come from?
Tell us about your small batch program, because you guys started this almost the instant you
At least
opened.
this one. It
But
smells
is it Tuesday or it's Wednesday, right? The small batch is released?
Yes.
Has everybody tried this?
No, not yet. I haven't even touched mine.
I haven't either. It
Anybody
smells
else?
amazing.
Anyway,
I touch my small batch too often.
So to talk about the small batch, we actually brew this every single week. Every single week we actually have a small batch, and that's the cool thing about
same
it.
thing or something different?
Nope, we do something different.
Okay, I'll just check.
And that's dislike.
Because if you brew it every week, it's no longer a small batch.
And this is
it's what's on tap.
You said this is the second time you've ever done this, but this is a malt liquor.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said it like that. It's a malt liquor.
No, it's
All right, Billy
it's
D.
a ball buster, is what it is. And
Does it have a name, or is it just called small batch?
No, it's actually has a name.
Nobody knows that.
Not going to tell you.
Edit that one out.
The name is on double secret probation.
Right.
However, every time, we actually have a bunch of other beers that we would love to name, but
Well, we'll start figuring out names for you.
I tell you what, this is one elegant fucking malt liquor because
That is awesome.
You get a hot booze, like you could tell it's loaded. It's hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's really smooth.
I get a little bit of grapefruit in there, and
Yeah.
what
It's
is
orange.
It?
It's orange and cloudy.
so think about that lady that like wants to hang out but can't.
Right.
She's going to.
All right.
So,
I know. There's
that
no
about
banana in there, but you get like if you just pass it on your nose, a slight
you
whiff
get
of banana,
yeah.
sort of. But then it all goes away when you
It's like
slug
a
it.
saison smell to it, almost. But like I said,
That's what
it's
I'm saying.
orange and
Yeah,
it's cloudy.
absolutely.
That's
dig
a hell of a Zima.
Now, now tell us about your
when we brew with yeast, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Jordan.
Warren.
whoever.
Known each other for 8 years, but go ahead.
He's only known him for a couple of years.
I've got a Jordan guy too.
Jordan's on our show too. Jordan will feel good.
Is he also a fat white guy with a beard?
No beard.
No.
I was like stamped out at a craft beer festival,
can't
like
grow hair.
press, just.
Sorry, Sean, go ahead. You don't remember what I was going to say.
No, but I was going to ask you because you've got the small batch release you guys do every Wednesday. That's a fun way to mix it up, and you do a limited, a small amount of wild, just out of pocket things. But you also do a Randall release on Monday.
Yeah. Is that Mondays?
It's
okay.
One's Monday, one's Wednesday. The Randall's Monday, right? The Randall's Wednesday.
Not anymore.
It's Wednesday.
No, we retired the Randall.
Well, fucking never mind then.
So
edit that out.
So we retired the Randall to upgrade to Firkins. So we have a Firkin program now. And
okay
it's
with
not every
that.
week because it takes time to get ahead on that kind of
Takes
stuff.
a frickin' long time.
There you go. Bonus word score.
Waiting for it.
But we're nearly every week we're releasing a Firkin. We have a quadruple dry hopped turtle tamer coming out on
Holy
Monday.
shit.
Whoa.
Amazing.
Simcoe heavy for the dry hop.
Nice.
So it's going to be awesome.
You'll be all over that one.
I mean, Randalls are cool. They have their disadvantages, though. And while we were in the startup, we still wanted to have these kind of beer infusions and move on from there.
Yeah, you did like burnt oranges.
Yeah, burnt oranges, cinnamon.
And one of my favorite ones you guys did, and I zipped down here, made an appointment that day because, as a cat owner, I thought, oh my God, it's fresh catnip.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I came down here. It was amazing. But one of the funnier things, if you follow the Crooked U on Instagram, the pictures for the Randall releases were always like, I came down here, I asked Sean today, like, who do you get to do these? He's like, it's an iPhone, whatever. I was impressed. Those are great pictures, but like you'd sit there and think, I can make time for that today. My Monday's been rough, or I'll make it rough before I get down there. So you're moving toward the Firkin program. That's fun.
Yeah, and I mean, essentially, a Firkin is a large, better version of a Randall, right? Like Randall, you're pressing beer through ingredients.
Right.
With the Firkin, we're like, hey, we're going to pair these ingredients with this beer, and we're going to put some sugar in there and charge it and allow it to ferment in there and create CO2 in there. And then you have a full, consistent infusion. And that's the best thing about Firkins, right? With the Randall, if you poured 20 beers all at once, you'd get some inconsistencies with how much beer was pouring through, right? So
what'd you guys do with the Randall? Did you give it to an employee, or is it?
No, we still have
raffle it off.
Made it fun.
Yeah.
I think we'll still end up kind of pulling it out for some special things or some fun things. But,
Warren does that a lot.
No. I pull it out for $5. That's different.
No, it's called date night.
Well, God, we got a Kevin Spacey over here.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I'm just kidding. It's tiny. I never pull it out anywhere. If I had a huge one, I'd be one of those
Nobody would
whipping out
know
at a party
anyway.
guys, but I'm not, so I don't. It's probably saved my ass a few times. So
It's out right now and nobody knows.
He likes it when it's winter because it's just
right.
There's no worry about shrinkage.
A
What?
little cold? Sure.
That's why.
It's a little dangly time.
But yeah, Randalls were cool. We're
like 'em.
moving up, right?
Yeah.
We're still
Yeah.
trying to perfect what we've been doing.
I tend to see them more at like the brew fest or whatever. So
100%.
people, you see more Randalls just at the brew fest for that kind of.
Yep.
Throwing
You
something
don't
different
see
in.
them actually a lot at the breweries.
You
Not
don't.
in a lot of them.
I mean, Dogfish
Not
Head-
regularly.
Right. Dogfish Head probably is the most famous Randall. Like, they sell it for breweries and things
Right.
like that, and they do it often there. And it's a cool thing, but it's not as cool as Firkins. It's not as cool as pulling things out of a beer engine and having that natural carbonation, right?
Yep.
Like, that's what we're really going for.
Yeah.
And from the word go, that was our plan. It just took time to kind of
You guys are rocking beer engines down there, not straight.
We're going to. Right
awesome.
now it's just gravity, straight out of the Firkin.
Yeah.
But we will. We do have a plan to put beer engines at the end of the bar.
I love the beer engines,
me
man. Those
too.
there's a Union Brewing.
Yeah.
Over in down
Yeah.
in like Carmel area in
Union,
Indy,
yep.
they do all their stuff off of beer
Carmel.
engines.
Must
Actually,
be
you'd
nice.
be surprised though. It's a
Yeah.
nice. No, it's. I mean, it's
Pumping is the way to
It is
go.
a nice little place, but yeah, the
totally.
beer coming off of those because they'll do both. They both got regular taps, but then they'll have their beers on the engine.
Look at these guys
That's
hanging
really
out.
good.
They got hanging out in Carmel money. Nice.
It's
Good for you.
It's the edge of Carmel.
It's
man.
like once a month.
All right.
It's
Okay.
not- yeah.
Only on paydays.
Yeah.
The tax return season's coming up. All right.
Let's go to Carmel.
Yeah.
Pumping that beer though, that's truly the way to go.
It adds- yeah, it
a
adds
lot of
an
places
awesome-
don't do that.
No.
and
It adds
They
adds
won't.
something to it. I don't know. I can never put my finger on it, but it just adds something.
We were talking
different
to
it.
somebody, but it was I forget what brewer they found out somebody was doing a Randall with their beer, and they didn't ask them.
Oh,
But they had
I can't
their
remember
beer.
who that was.
Do you remember that though? And they
Yeah,
were like,
someone was
you know,
randling their beer,
One
and
of
that
the
weren't
places, a
they
tap
weren't-
house was randling, but didn't. I mean, they were
Didn't
like,
ask
no,
permission.
That's not what my beer was made for, and they were kind of upset about it.
Yeah,
You know, that they were
I wish
just-
I could remember who it was.
But that makes sense. I
Yeah,
guess,
no,
you
it's-
know,
it's-
it's
yeah,
like
it's-
hey, here's the Mona Lisa. Let's put a mustache on it.
But no, that's
So,
not how
I
you're
mean,
supposed.
that's
That's not how I
really
want it
important.
displayed. Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's really important.
It is. Well, it's important for especially if you're sending out your beer to other places to be on
yeah,
tap.
absolutely.
That they honor what you're trying to do, not
Right.
not make shit up on their own.
Right.
You know, we talk about how amazing the food is here, and we've been talking about it all day. But we're here because it's a beer brewery.
It is
and
brewery.
the beer is fucking amazing. And I'll tell you what, this small batch
is
awesome.
You guys feel free to take that and use it for marketing if you want.
It's fucking
amazing.
Beer's fucking amazing.
Fucking amazing.
Sure.
Stop by.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge. I love that Whampass.
Whampass?
Whampass.
I love a good Whampass.
If you have 8 of them, you'll get Whampass. But yeah,
it's a little warm in here.
Alabama version, Brendan.
Swamp ass.
Yes. I love the Whampass. That stuff was good, man.
Yeah. Ryan's actually really excited because they brought in all the flights and they put them all the way at the end table right in front of Ryan.
Oh, they are here. We've been waiting for him. Ryan's like, "Where's yours?"
I got my order. What the hell's going on?
Attention, this is Captain.
Did they label him at all, Ryan, down there?
Your flight?
Yeah.
Did they label him, Ryan? Did they label the beers at all? Yeah. Oh, okay, good. All right. Well, we'll start passing them down, man. We gotta try some beers, and
He's still like,
Sean's
got
to
pass. This is my.
Sean's got to tell us about the beers.
Come down here, then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on, Ryan, get up and serve.
He seems old. I knew Ryan when he was younger.
No, that was 6 months ago for the beard.
Oh, hey, say a white beard tends to age a man.
Oh man, does it?
Dude, I swear.
Look
No,
at that guy.
I went into his house. We stopped at the house, and I didn't know it was him.
He thought somebody was at Ryan's house.
No, I didn't. I just thought it was another friend.
You'll have
you
to
know?
get a picture of it and put it on like the.
I probably said, "Hey, is that Jerry?" Wait.
Hey, other friend.
All right.
Poor little duffer.
All right, so this is Peggy.
This is Peggy. You have a beer called Peggy? What's up, Sean?
I know I have my staples when I come here because I love the porter, but I love, obviously, the Scotch Ale is fucking awesome because it's award-winning. And it is awesome. And that before it won the award, that's what I was drinking down here because it was good shit. But I love the porter and the Rec Necks. I think that's a big one here, too. Isn't that pretty stellar? Everybody.
It is, yeah.
That's an amazing stout.
And both of those beers have made final tables at Peggy made final table at World Beer.
Oh, really?
And Reckneps made final table at what's the one in Colorado? I'm sorry.
Oh,
GABF.
GABF. Yeah.
Nice. So I mean, didn't take down. We only get notes back on why the judges passed on it, making the top 3.
Right.
But it still tells you when you make the final
that it made the table.
Right.
Out of all those beers going there, hell yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right,
you gotta think. I mean, that's a couple years, and you have stuff at the final table at Colorado. That's amazing.
It still doesn't feel real. I mean, we got the announcement for the World Beer Cup, and I mean, it was near chaos in here, right? Like, I got a text message.
Sean was on his couch.
Sean was on his couch. He was texting me. He was texting me. You know, it was like, what? Shut
Absorbing greatness is tiring.
It was late.
I found out about it from a third party that has no relation to anybody here at this table.
Yeah.
And I texted Sean. I'm like, hey, is this true? He goes, fuck yeah, it is, man.
It was like it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night on like a Friday or something, and I just get this text from Sean, like, unfucking believable, and I just started walking around to the staff. I was like, we just
medaled.
Third
we just
place,
medaled in the World Cup.
So it happened.
Shut it down. We're going to Peddlers. All right.
Someone play the national anthem.
Yeah.
It nearly did shut us down because the word happened so fast, and everyone on staff has been here since the beginning and loves this place so much. The buzz just happened. And it was a matter of 20 minutes until every fucking table
was filled.
Just nothing but Scotch Ale. Nothing. Like, it was the only time I'd ever seen it, right? Like, I mean, sure, the Scotch Ale sells well. It's our award winner. But you're still seeing lots of IPAs on the table. This was just blacked out Scotch Ale's entire dining room. And, I mean, from a production standpoint, it nearly killed us. I mean, really did. Like, we won that award, and all of a sudden it's like, well, we have to brew this day. Well, we had to double time it, and we just didn't know it was going to happen. And lots of breweries experienced that. I remember reading an article about Fathead and their first silver and how much production they had to up just to be able to keep up that one beer. I mean, it's intense. It's intense to keep it up.
Well, I hope you guys don't win any more awards because that's be
God knows.
Hey.
Yeah.
Let that be a lesson to you.
Yeah.
All right, so Sean, what is the Peggy? Because Brendan and I have just tried it. We're passing around
I've been drinking it all night.
No, you were drinking swamp ass. I mean, Whampass.
No, I just tried a little bit of I tried Warren Swamp Ass, and it was delicious.
Well, Warren's Swamp Ass. I mean, I've heard of it. It's great.
Who hasn't?
It's fantastic.
So what is the Peggy?
But
we lost our beer menu.
Peggy Lee was pretty much brought upon one of our owners.
Okay.
This is one of your the brown and the oatmeal. Those are some of the standard ones you had right off the bat, weren't they?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
And this one was an additional one. It was a brown porter. It's good. It's great. It's dark, malty.
Oh yeah, no, I'm getting that.
Much.
No, it's not too much.
Yeah.
So it is a porter.
Totally.
Or is it, okay, I wasn't sure if it was just a brown or anywhere in there. So
a brown porter, so you're getting that creaminess out of it. It's,
okay,
I like it. I've been
I drink it is that what you had too?
Yeah, I drink it every time I'm here. I always have one of the Peggy Lee's because I think it's delicious.
I synced it. I synced it.
Is that a word?
What do you think? Is this one you usually drink when you're here too? Or
I've had them all.
Well, you're the IPA guy.
I was really excited because I think it was right before you guys opened here, but you had some of the beers on tap at Fiddler's, and I was fucking pumped because I'm like, I'm gonna check these in on tap before anybody else. So yeah, I've been around the horn, and the beers are all fantastic. The thing I like is if you're a craft beer enthusiast, the flavors are intense and the profiles are complex enough that it's exciting. But at the same time, if you're like a Bud Light guy, I've got a couple of friends that up until about a year and 2 years ago drank Coors Light exclusively, but it's accessible. So it keeps somebody like me excited, but somebody who's new to the craft beer game or drinking locally, it's something that you can bring them in and say, hey, try this. You're not going to hate it. It's it's not some outlandish sweat sock infused double IPA. Right. You're going to dig this, and it's fun.
No, that's in the Randall.
I'm pretty sure something. I'm pretty sure 18th Street already does one of those, or Burnham. But
I know a brewery who sweat sock with dirt.
But this is a fun place to bring people who come in from out of town. Like when my sister-in-law's come into town, it's like, hey, check out what we have, and it's a fucking mile from my house. I can crawl back home if I need to.
And have.
Right.
Well, yeah.
It's $3.15 of sad Uber talk all the way home. Wow, you are fat. What? You should have walked.
One of the things that's always impressed me is the beer is, if it's a porter, I know it's a porter, and you can tell it's a porter. Some place you go to now, they mix those lines so much, you can't tell if you're drinking a stout. Or it's like they just call it whatever they want because you can't tell. You're doing things more, and I think you mentioned that earlier, was that you want that style. You want to know what you're drinking. And the American stout, it's got the bitterness to it. I love those dark, bitter chocolate notes to it. And you know what you're drinking.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no, that porter's got some cream to it. You know what you're drinking. There's no.
So going back around.
There's no mixing the lines, but what you're doing. So it makes it a nice, especially for craft beer snobs, I think this is the place they would want to go because you know what you're drinking. There's so many times I've had stuff where you go, why the hell are they calling that a porter? There's nothing, there's nothing.
There's a
porter.
stout.
It's
a oatmeal stout, and there's not a bit of oatmeal in it. There's nothing creamy about it. You're sitting there going,
And there's a big difference between a stout and an American stout. I mean, is that
absolutely, absolutely,
totally, 100%.
I think it's important to keep those lines in place. Mm-hmm. Like we still have to know as a brewery where we came from, right? Like America has revolutionized craft beer in a way that hasn't happened in Europe. I mean,
it is happening now.
It's not happening now, but just now, right?
Yeah, just we took it. Well, they were so mired in their classical styles, and and speaking of Scottish, like brew dogs.
Absolutely.
Is upsetting things with the status quo out there.
Really upsetting things.
Oh, they are.
It pissed people the fuck off.
Oh, they
and
pissed
good for them.
Off. Well, yeah, exactly.
They should. Right?
Well, exposing the the corporate and all, the corporate stranglehold on beer that was been out there for so long. And tradition is great. I love tradition. I like my old school German beers. There's nothing wrong with a Guinness. I'm sorry.
I agree.
I was actually surprised at all the Guinness that have come out since then. Haven't tried a one, but because I like my traditional Guinness. But there's nothing wrong with upsetting that status quo either, and exposing some of them for what they are, which is just cashmongers, just trying to stranglehold to keep what they got.
And what's cool is that you talk about Guinness, and that's a place where obviously tradition, and they've been doing that same beer for hundreds of years, but
and now look at them
because of the American craft beer.
Does it make you sad when they're
these
like,
guys
check out
are
the Guinness
making
IPA?
different beers.
They finally made.
It's not our
they're making
fault,
Rise and
sort of
and that's
guess.
because of what we're doing over here.
Yeah.
I mean that's huge.
Yeah, I completely
It's
believe
big,
so.
but it's not our fault. I mean,
Oh no, it's
literally.
not. No.
Well, that's the biggest thing.
It's not your fault, Sean.
It's not your fault.
No, actually, Sean Meehan of the Crooked
Don't do
Beer,
that to me, man.
That is his fault entirely.
It's not your fault.
Is it our fault?
The paradigm shift of macro brewing is all his fault.
But no, man, how horrible is that? I don't know. Just thought about it.
When you see them, it seems sort of pandery to see
You wonder-
a Guinness be like, hey, check out Guinness Blonde, Guinness
Yeah.
IPA. I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, I don't think so.
Dude,
I'll drink you all March
yeah.
like I do every other year.
But I
That's
give them
gonna be it.
credit. But I give them credit for getting out of their rut, too. I look at it both ways. You're right. It's it's like, why are you? Yeah, you're pandering. But I also give them credit for trying something new.
Right.
You got to give them a little credit on that.
And I will go with that too. It's not pandering in the sense that they're putting out shit because they're not.
Right.
I mean,
it's decent. It is decent.
they're
I've
like
heard.
Nitro IPA. I was fucking like, oh okay, good job guys. Like way to
Yeah,
think
all
outside
right.
of the box. I mean, we've been thinking outside of the box in this country for so long when it comes to beer that we're just. Yeah, I call it the like two-hearted syndrome, right? We're all like, yeah, two-hearted. I don't buy two-hearted at all. Like, sorry, I feel terrible saying that out loud, but it's true because I'm like going to the liquor store to try to find some other double IPA that I haven't had before. But the reality is Two Heart is one of the best double IPAs that exists. Period.
And every time that there's a classification or a rating system or an article comes out, they're among the top 2, 3,
Absolutely.
or 4.
Yeah.
But to me, Two Hearted has always been kind of like the Big Mac, where like you may go to a shithole bar in the thumb of Michigan and they've got Pabst, they've got Coors Light.
And Two Hearted.
They're gonna have Two Hearted.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
They don't even know the word craft beer, but there's a Bell's Two Hearted there. You're like, oh, thank God. All right, I can get turned. Okay.
See, and I'm always with the guy that's like, it's bottle.
Yeah. Any way I can get it, just pump it into my veins.
I can't believe.
But I see your point, though.
When I do
started
these shows for 2 years now or 3 years now, and it's funny. You talk about people. You talk about you trying to say what was your explosion or your
what was
first
your
craft
aha
beer,
beer?
aha
Your aha.
beer, and 85% of the time it's Bell's
been a
Two
Bell's.
Hearted.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially around here.
It's
yes.
here.
around Midwest, and it was
Bell's has been
Bell's,
was a lot of people's introduction into the world.
I beer trade, and half these guys are just like, "Can you get me Zombie Dust? Can you get me Two Hearted?" Like guys in California, and they want it all the
Fucking
time
for days, bro.
For days.
Oh yeah, now
They're
yeah.
like, I'll get you a 6-pack of Zombie Dust. They're like, I'll get you 2 bottles of Parabola right now.
Yeah.
Done. And I'm like, yes.
Somebody doesn't know how to haggle properly.
all I have to do is go to Citywide every Wednesday and get a fucking pack of Zombie Dust, and I'm good to go.
Well, Zombie
right?
Dust doesn't have its thing like they're not. It's not as restrictive as it was like 2 years ago.
Right.
It's on tap. It used to be it's on tap. It's gone in 2 days.
Right.
Now it's sitting on tap for like a month.
Right.
In some places. Where it's
Yeah,
just like it is a good thing, but it was a marketing thing, and it's still a good
Agreed.
one.
Yeah.
But people don't know how to haggle right. they need to haggle better.
I'll keep taking it.
No, we just went out to Arizona over the holidays, and we flew Southwest, and they give you 2 free checked bags. So we filled them to the brim.
Hell yes.
With fucking alcohol.
Hell yes, you did.
And we took them out there. And
Get that 50-pound limit.
But it was all 18th Street, Three Floyds, Bare Hands, like just local stuff that we take for granted every day because in Arizona it's a huge deal.
It is.
Oh yeah.
And we got out there and then emptied them out, gave them all away, and then got to fill them up with Arizona stuff and bring it all back.
Nice.
And the stuff that we all are like, no big deal, not a big deal. Like the Three Floyds, even there was the Oil of Gladness, the barrel age collaboration they did with Dark Horse.
Yeah.
Huge deal out there, massive deal. I'm like, okay,
We take it for
how many of
granted
these do you
because
want?
We do, yeah.
And then, but there's a weird distribution switch that happens out there where like Goose Island, like the Bourbon County stuff, sometimes is hard to get, or there's a bottle limit here. Out there, how much do you want of whatever it is? So that's a lot of fun, but it's a really good time to see, like, you're right, how that the sort of like the Miller Lite of Coors of like craft beer on here is a huge deal elsewhere.
It is.
Yeah. Well, we've got the
it's kinda
explosion
like-
that some of those places
It's
don't
like
have.
Pliny for us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's two-hearted for them.
Right.
Yeah.
They want that two-hearted. They want
yeah.
zombie dust.
Yep.
And they're like, I got all the plenty. I'll send you a case. What, like, case for case? You want to do this? Like, let's go. I've done that before, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we're
it's
like,
amazing.
it's not that great, you know. You can get it, but,
Right, 100%.
But it's because we can get it
We're
whenever we want.
desensitized,
And,
right.
And we're about to
We
be
talked
able to
about
buy it
that, I
on
think, in our last
Sundays.
show.
All right.
Yeah.
Not
What
yet.
can we get?
Close.
It's like the good weed, you know?
Absolutely.
It's like that really good Elkhart bathtub crank. Like, you know, get it from the source, dude. Yeah. If you want to get bent, let's do this.
Didn't we used to make movies with Trans Ams about getting beer from one side of the country?
Right.
to the other?
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, now it's just called UPS.
Right. Like back in the 70s and 80s, my dad managed a couple of terminals for Roadway, and he would tell me stories because I had watched Smokey the Bandit. I have no frame of reference. Like, you can't get Coors? What? He said in the 70s and 80s, literally every driver for Roadway Express would leave about a 3-foot gap in the back of their trailer because they would fill it with Coors and bring it back.
Well, there's like the Yingling, even you know, for Indiana for years.
Dude,
everybody's
last
driving
summer
down to Kentucky
when
to get.
Yingling hit, it was like a fucking circus here.
Oh, yeah.
I never had it, so I finally had it. I thought, ooh, this is gonna be over quick. This party.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, 100%.
And in a weekend, it was over faster than Not Your Father's Root Beer. It's like,
Yeah, there's
100%.
There's bars that still had that first keg on tap because they can't get rid of it.
100%.
yeah.
The first real big one, I think, recently was Ballast Point.
Yeah.
Ballast Point hit, and it's still,
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's
granted, like, we can get it pretty.
Yeah.
I filled my trunk. The second it hit citywide, I was like, everything. Give
Sculpin
me
for
everything.
days.
And it's
Sculpin for
I
days.
Do not like. I don't think I've had one I've liked. I
Whoa.
don't like it.
When I was-
think
when I was-
tastes
Whoa.
skunk to me.
When I was
I'm not a Ballast fan.
I'm
I was
fine.
excited.
That's
about
I'm
it.
right there.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
on,
just my.
I'm on the same wagon.
was really
I'm
excited
not a
about it.
Ballast Point fan.
I've either liked it or loved it, but when I was out west, I got the High West barrel aged.
Yes.
I've got a couple of bottles. If you want one, I'll give you one.
I do.
Yeah, and
Zombie dust.
it was trade you for a large format Yingling Light. But that's the first time I'd ever had anything other than like a light IPA that's infused with something. And
Sure,
and man,
sure.
their barrel aged shit is no joke. It's good.
Their barrel aged shit is amazing. I spend a lot of time out in California. Another thing that's coming is Firestone Walker's going to be here next month.
Oh god.
Oh,
to
nice.
Indiana.
Yes.
Okay.
And you know what? I like their beers.
I do too.
I think they're good.
Good to see
Their
them.
barrel aged program is ridiculous. There's
Totally.
Succubus, and then they do
Whampass.
Whampass.
The succulumpas.
Well, and you can judge all that stuff based on its value on that secondary trademark.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they're one of those breweries that just their limited releases are just name your price, whatever you want.
Sure.
It's nuts.
All
All right,
boys.
guys. I know we've been hitting a lot of it, and we did have a lot of samples here. The Peggy's great. I had the rest nibs all time, but we're getting ready to close it out for this show.
Hey,
Brendan. Warren, go for it.
We should do one final wrap-up question.
Yeah, go for it.
Really quick, in 60 seconds. We've watched the Crooked U grow from just being an empty shell of a VFW to where it is now. And in the next 2 or 3 years, what's something you're hoping for, Sean? Is it a canning thing?
I told
Is
you
it
the dock. I said the dock at the. He was going to put the dock
Yeah,
where the
the
canoes
casino, right.
and the tubes and the casino can be at.
That's like year 10.
I'm sorry. I thought I was pretty clear about that.
like Alain, as far as the menu goes, is there anything in the next couple of years you're looking forward to, like moving into the next level of whatever?
Yeah, so in 60 seconds, I will say that as a chef, I'm into some weird shit food-wise.
Okay, hold on.
Not what you're thinking. Not what you're thinking, right?
Save that for the next
Yes.
show.
I got a browser history you didn't see, buddy.
But like, this is my business, and there's a lot of experimentation, and there's a lot of things that I don't feel like South Bend is necessarily ready for, or wasn't 3 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I started this menu with the idea that I wanted to make things a little weird, allow my staff to be able to communicate one-on-one. Right? You guys have seen this menu. It's not exact. That's designed so you have an actual conversation with your
Sometimes I
server.
can't even read it.
Sure, sure. There's too much.
Well, you're
too
illiterate,
much of that
so-
Whampass.
Yeah.
Small batch.
Whampass.
I got a large batch of the small batch.
Not a problem.
I started at a certain place, and I want to continue to move forward. And there was a certain amount of trust that needed to be built with this town.
Right.
You go to Chicago, you can all get all sorts of weird shit, but we're not in Chicago, and we need to realize
you
that.
can.
So moving forward, lots of things are going to happen. We just got that new smoker. Sous vide machines are going to be one of the most fundamental parts, right? We've been sous videing.
You do the 1 hour egg here.
We do the 1 hour egg,
a thing or two.
and I feel like that's a really good introduction. The next thing we've done, we have a lobster roll on the menu now, and I'm sous videing the lobster. So often lobster is just put in boiling water, which means that as it cooks, parts of the lobster are overcooked, parts of the lobster are perfectly cooked. I'm not doing any of that.
And he's screaming the whole time.
They come in alive, and I kill them here. Sorry, vegans.
Yeah.
But that's the next step. The next step is, right, like we're moving down this path of sous vide and what perfect lobster tastes like rather than overcooked lobster. And we're going to keep taking those roads. We've got years to go with the menu. What it really took was building trust. And it's trust that we have now gained, right? We have a huge base of people who just are like, you got something new on the menu? I don't give a fuck what it is. Just give it to me.
Bring it to me.
They trust us now. And that's what we needed to build from the word go.
Sean, what's your what do you got other than the doc? He don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, everything you said is great.
And as long as you guys don't start selling bike jerseys, we're gonna be here forever. So
that parking lot over there is going to go away. Expand capacity or anything. I mean, you guys looking at expanding up anytime soon?
The lot over there. Our expansion is going to be within what we have here.
Okay.
Because that's, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's.
You guys can at all? Or is it strictly straight up growlers or anything? Or are you guys canning or anything?
We're
or
canning. We do a little bit of growlers.
Okay.
But it's all based upon what we can fill at
cool.
the time.
Yeah.
Beer, food, ambiance.
yeah,
It's a great place.
Like what I said,
and if you want to find out more, follow the
that-
Crooked U on Instagram.
Yes.
Their Instagram
Totally.
is a lot of fun. It's all just hot sex, beer, food, 24/7.
And apparently you follow Alain's too, because
It's just like
Alain's
the pigs
super fun. No,
without the hot sex.
it's really weird to like live in a town with a guy who you're like, God damn, like he does some interesting shit, and you're like, I know him. I can text him if I want, like. But I'm like, oh,
But he's busy right now.
Can you come over and make me breakfast?
Well, like you watch him go to New Orleans, and I was like, wow, I went there,
And that's cool.
None of those things were available to me.
This guy gets naked with all of us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why the fireplace is up here.
He's the spiritual leader of this place.
Show 2 is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
But cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for coming
Cheers
out.
to the
Thanks
U.
for letting us hang. We appreciate it. To the
Cheers.
U. Cheers.